UFC's back at the Apex for just another terrible Apex card. I feel like I say this every week, but this might be the worst card of 2025. But doesn't mean we don't have plenty of money to be made. Let's get into it. First fight of the night, we got Su Young Yu taking on AJ Cunningham. So Yu is 14-3 with 2 no contests. That is 1-0 in the UFC. Cunningham is 11-4. That is 0-1 in the UFC. Yu is unbeaten in 4 straight fights. Cunningham has won 3 of his last 5. Yu, 29 years old. Cunningham, 30 years old. I'm going to take the over 1.5 here. It's minus 200. Yu's hit it in 9 of his last 10 fights, and Cunningham has hit it in 7 of his last 10 fights. Cunningham does make me a little nervous here that, he might get finished a little earlier, but if he can last, I definitely like this to hit the over 1.5. If you guys are looking for anything else to take, dude, AJ Cunningham has a dog here. I mean, he's not that good, but it's plus 520. He didn't look good in his UFC debut, but it was against Ludovic Klein. He's pretty hard to look good against. He will have a 6-inch reach advantage, and he lands 3 times as many significant strikes as you. So I don't have confidence in this, but you can't trust you at minus 700. You could take a dabble on Cunningham at plus 520. It's worth it. Another prop I like is the over 2.5. If you want a little extra off the top, Yu's hit it in 5 straight fights, and Cunningham has hit it in 3 of his last 7. And last but not least, fight end by knockout. It's plus 300. 7 of their combined pro wins have come by knockout, and they've both been knocked out before, and neither has been subbed before. So if someone's going to get finished, it's probably by a knockout. Next fight of the night, we got Alexander Hernandez taking on Kurt Hollabaugh. So Hernandez is 15-8. That is 7-7 in the UFC, split between featherweight and lightweight. This fight will be at lightweight, where he is 7-4 in the UFC. Hollabaugh is 21-8 with 1 no contest. This is his 3rd stint in the UFC. Yes, 3rd. He went 0-1 in 2013, got cut. They brought him back in 2018. He went 0-3, gets cut again. Then they bring him back for Tough 31 in 2023. He wins the whole damn thing, and he's gone 2-1 in this current stint. So he is 2-5 in the UFC. Hernandez has lost 4 of his last 6, but he is coming off a win. Hollabaugh has won 4 of his last 5. Hernandez, 32 years old. Hollabaugh getting up there, 38 years old. So I'm going to take Alexander the Great Hernandez here, minus 175. I'm going to parlay it with the over 1.5 in the first fight. Cunningham Yu gets us plus 136. I like that little 2-leg parlay there. Hernandez, he has lost 4 of his last 6, but 3 of those were at featherweight, and the other one was to Moicano. He has won 3 of his last 4 at lightweight. He also has a top 10 win at lightweight over Beneil Dariush in his UFC debut. Hollabaugh, bit older, has not fought anyone in the top 15. Just feel like Hernandez could have the veteran advantage here when it comes to the UFC experience, at least. Looking for anything else to take? How about the over 2.5? You'd have to parlay it. It's minus 180. Hernandez has hit it in 4 straight fights, and Hollabaugh has hit it in 2 straight fights. And last but not least, Hernandez by decision. It's plus 115. 4 of his 7 UFC wins have come by decision, including his last 2 wins. And Hollabaugh has lost by decision 6 times before, including his last 2 losses. Next fight of the night, we got Damon Blackshear taking on Cody Gibson. So Blackshear is 15-7-1. That is 3-3-1 in the UFC. Gibson is 21-10. This will be his 2nd stint in the UFC. He went 1-3 in 2014-15, got cut, came back in Tough in 2023, just like Hollabaugh, and has since gone 2-2. So he is 3-5 overall in the UFC. Blackshear has won 3 of his last 5, all 3 of those coming by finish. Gibson has also won 3 of his last 5, 2 of those coming by finish. Blackshear is still just 30 years old. Gibson, 37 years old. I'm going to ride with Damon Blackshear. Money line here, minus 360. I'm parlaying it. I'll obviously get to the parlay later. Despite his lackluster UFC record, his 3 losses came to 2 top 15 guys in Montel Jackson, Mario Bautista, and Farid Basharat, who's undefeated and will probably be ranked in the future. He also went to a draw with Yusuf Zalal, who's ranked at featherweight now. So none of these are bad losses whatsoever. Both guys are good wrestlers, so that could cancel out, and this could stay standing. I favor Blackshear in that stand-up. Gibson also has only 1 win over someone currently in the UFC, and that fighter is 1-3 in the UFC. So really not beating anyone good. Let's be real. If you guys are looking for anything else, how about the over 2.5? It's minus 205. You'd have to parlay it. Blackshear's hit it in 3 of his 7 UFC fights, and Gibson has hit it in 5 of his 8 UFC fights. Blackshear by sub is plus 230. 10 of his 15 pro wins have come by sub, including his last 2 wins, and Gibson has been subbed 4 times before. And last but not least, Blackshear by decision, minus 125. Only 3 of his 15 pro wins have come by decision, but Gibson hasn't been finished in almost 8 years, and his last 3 losses have come by decision. Next fight of the night, we got Sungwoo Choi taking on Kevin Vallejos. So Choi is 11-7. That is 4-6 in the UFC. Vallejos is 14-1. This will be his UFC debut. Choi has lost 4 of his last 5 and was finished in 3 of those. Vallejos has won 4 of his last 5. Choi, 32 years old. Vallejos still just 23 years old. I'm going to ride with Vallejos here. Money line, minus 350. I'm going to parlay it. I'll get to it later. His lone career loss came to John Silva, and he won a round on all 3 judges' scorecards against Silva. That's pretty damn good. He looks like a killer besides that. He's got 86% of his wins coming by finish, and Choi was just finished in 3 of his last 4 losses, like I mentioned. Choi also hasn't beaten anyone on the UFC roster in almost 4 years. I just feel like they're trying to push Vallejos up here. Easy win for him, hopefully. If you're looking for anything else, how about the over 1.5? It's minus 150, so you'd have to parlay it. Choi's hit it in 7 of his 10 UFC fights, and Vallejos has hit it in 4 of his last 5. If you want a little extra on it, the over 2.5 is plus money, plus 130. Choi's hit it in 6 of his 10 UFC fights, and Vallejos has only hit it 3 times in 15 pro fights, but 2 of his last 4 made it to round 3 for whatever that's worth. And last but not least, Vallejos by finish, it's minus 225. 12 of his 14 pro wins have come by finish, and Choi has been finished 5 times before, including his last 2 fights. Co-main event, Chidi Njokuani taking on Alizu Zaleski dos Santos. So Njokuani is 24-10 with 1 no contest. That is 4-3 in the UFC. Zaleski dos Santos is 25-8-1. That is 11-4-1 in the UFC. Njokuani has lost 3 of his last 5, but he has won 2 straight. Zaleski dos Santos is unbeaten in 4 of his last 5. Njokuani, 36 years old. Zaleski dos Santos, 28 years old. Sorry, 38 years old. I'm like, wait, he sounds younger than I thought. I'm taking Zaleski dos Santos here, money line. It's a minus 170. I'm parlaying it with Blackshear money line, and Vallejos money line gets us plus 161. I hate doing money line parlays, but here we go. 3-leg money line parlay in your face hole. I think Zaleski dos Santos is the more well-rounded fighter, and while neither guy has beaten anyone in the top 15, I do think Zaleski dos Santos has fought the better competition. He does have a win over a ranked lightweight in Benoit Saint-Denis and a ranked middleweight. Oh, and that ranked middleweight also happens to be a former champion. Oh, and he finished him. Yeah, Sean Strickland, looking at you. Zaleski dos Santos not really known for his wrestling, but he has taken down 5 different UFC opponents, and Chidi was taken down in all 3 of his UFC losses. So I feel like Zaleski's got ways to get it done here. We're riding with him. Looking for anything else, how about the over 1.5? You'd have to parlay it. It's minus 175. Chidi's only hit it 3 times in 7 UFC fights, but they all came in his last 4 fights, and ZDS has hit it in 7 of his last 8 fights. Over 2.5, if you want it at plus money, it's plus 100. Chidi's hit it in 3 of his last 4, including 2 straight, and ZDS, again, has hit it in 7 of his last 8. Fight end by KO is another prop I like. For whatever reason, it hasn't dropped yet, but 14 of Chidi's 24 wins have come by KO, and 15 of ZDS's 25 have come by KO. That's 59% combined. Main event, we got Marvin Vettori taking on Roman Dolidze in a rematch from pretty much exactly 2 years ago, March 18th, 2023. Vettori won a unanimous decision, 29-28 on 2 judges' scorecards, 30-27 on the other. It is worth noting, 14 of 28 media members did score the fight in favor of Dolidze. Also, your boy here scored it in favor of Dolidze. I think Dolidze won that fight. Vettori, he's 19-7-1. That is 9-5-1 in the UFC. Dolidze is 14-3. That is 8-3 in the UFC. Vettori has lost 3 of his last 5. Vettori's lost 3 of his last 5. Dolidze has won 3 of his last 5. Vettori's 31. Dolidze's 36. You know I'm riding with Roman Dolidze here. Money line plus 136. He's coming off 2 straight wins. He's been a lot more active. Vettori hasn't fought in almost 2 years. Dolidze's had 3 fights in that span. He arguably won the first fight. In my opinion, he did. He's also got an extra 2 rounds to get it done here. 10 minutes more. I think Dolidze can pull it out. If you're looking for anything else, take parlay piece, the over 4.5. It's minus 215. Vettori's hit the over 4.5 in all 5 rounders that he's fought in the UFC, and Dolidze hit it in the lone 5-rounder he fought. Vettori by decision, another prop I like, plus 100. His last 4 wins have come by decision, and Roman has never been finished.
I'm worth 100,000 like Woodrow. When a ball call me Wilson, going overboard at the Hilton.